This program is brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only. Mosaic, a daily news program from Link TV, presents a selection of news reports from independent and state-controlled broadcasters from throughout the Middle East.
The
first two steps towards implementing the Doha Agreement have been completed. A president for the Lebanese Republic has been elected, and the prime minister for the National Unity Government has been assigned. Now the Lebanese leaders embark on the third step as they begin discussing the composition of the new government today. Yesterday, the assigned Prime Minister, Fouad al-Sinyoura, completed protocol visits to former heads of cabinet. Soon he starts his two-day meeting cycle with the various parliamentary blocs to discuss the formation of his cabinet, namely the division of ministerial positions, particularly in the executive and service sectors. According to the Doha Agreement, the cabinet will be composed of 30 ministers. 16 seats go to government allies, 11 to the opposition, and 3 seats to trusted figures appointed by the president. Joining us live from Beirut is our correspondent, Elian Chatri. Elian, how is it going testing the water and exchanging ideas around the formation of the upcoming government?
أيمن لابد من الإشارة أنه منذ حوالي ربع ساعة تقريبا انطلقت الاستشارات النيابية.
Ayman, the parliamentary consultations began about half an hour ago with a meeting between the assigned PM Fouad al-Sinyoura and Parliament Speaker Nabih Berri. The consultation series will continue until 8:30 p.m. Beirut time today and will resume tomorrow morning. It seems there is a general agreement, or rather the minimal requirement for the agreement, as set forth in the Doha Agreement, which had laid out the plan for the cabinet's formation. The cabinet will be composed of 30 ministers with a predetermined number of seats for the opposition and the allies. 11 seats for the opposition, 16 for the majority, and 3 assigned by the President of the Republic. So the talks are meeting the minimum requirements for the agreement. There seems to be no attempt at hindering the formation of the cabinet. If the consultations conclude successfully within these 2 days, the new government will be in place by mid-next week.
إذا انتهت الاستشارات النيابية خلال هذا اليومين أن تبصر هذه الحكومة النور حوالي منتصف الأسبوع المقبل.
نعم إليان بحسب مصادر في الموالاة.
According to sources from government allies, there is a discussion about giving the opposition seats outside of its share. This, of course, is to avoid what happened previously when a resignation of one group turned into the resignation of a whole sect.
It looks like there is a commitment to the assigned numbers according to the Doha Agreement. The consultations are basically about the ministerial positions, especially in the executive and service sectors. We are nearing parliamentary elections, and if this government forms successfully and receives the vote of confidence from the lawmakers, it will be responsible for preparing for the upcoming elections. The main consultations are about the executive positions, particularly the Ministry of Defense, the Ministry of Finance, the Foreign Ministry, and the Ministry of Justice. The foreign minister will be chosen by the Republic's president to oversee the upcoming elections. The foreign minister has to be neutral, and he does not participate in the parliamentary elections. As for the other positions, it seems there is some tension about the Ministry of Justice and the Ministry of Finance. Both the Free Patriotic Movement and the Future Party are insisting on these 2 primary seats. The current consultations are taking place now so as to avoid future obstacles that could hinder the formation of the government. There is also a high demand from everyone for ministerial positions in the service sector.
التي هناك تهافت عليها من قبل جميع الأطراف.
Taliban fighters have reportedly captured a remote district in central Afghanistan. The local police chief is among officials taken prisoner after rebels attacked the small district of Rashidan. That's in Ghazni province, where US-led troops are claiming to have killed what they call several militants. Also running through Ghazni province is Highway 1, the main route linking the capital Kabul to southern Afghanistan. It's been rebuilt with $250 million from the US and other nations, but Taliban fighters continue to launch attacks on NATO's vital link to keep their troops supplied. Theresa Bow reports now on how local people are caught in the middle.
Go, 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 go. A new police station on Highway 1. U.S. soldiers and local police are setting up a base here. Their aim, to control the spike in attacks in Afghanistan in the last months.
Pretty much they use a lot of small arms fire. They utilize IEDs on the road as well. And also that's pretty much what we've been seeing so far.
The highway connects Kabul with the southern part of the country, an area where the Taliban hold power in some strategic locations. Some of the police officers working here say they're afraid they'll be the next target. We cannot stay here for 1 minute, says this man. The Taliban are thousands. I don't want to stay here without foreigners. We don't have the ability to fight the Taliban. Security is one of the major concerns for everyone in this area. The soldiers know they can be attacked any minute. That's why on this day, they brought along a massive show of strength. This is one of the most complicated areas in southern Afghanistan. Fighting between the Afghan and American forces and the Taliban fighters takes place almost daily here. And as you can see behind me, there's a ghost town. This town is completely empty because of the ongoing violence here. The houses and the bazaar have been completely abandoned. The Taliban have warned those who live here about the risks of staying. Taliban gave a warning to the people to leave this area so they can work freely here, says this officer. They wanted to decrease civilian casualties, so they continue with their attacks. So the people left, fearing for their lives. But these men dared to come back, to let the Americans know that their construction cut off the water supply at a nearby village.
The Egyptian parliament decided to extend the state of emergency for 2 additional years. This was seriously condemned by the opposition and non-governmental organizations. The state of emergency has been continuous for the past 27 years in Egypt. More on the state of emergency in the following report.
Between the extension of the state of emergency law and the passing of the anti-terrorism law, the Egyptian parliament approved extending the state of emergency for an additional 2 years. The state of emergency has been imposed in the country for about 27 years. Opposition members in the parliament criticized this decision and accused the authorities of using the state of emergency to try and divide them. The opposition expressed its fear that the drafted anti-terrorism law will serve the same purposes. Responding to this attack, the Egyptian Prime Minister Ahmed Nathif vowed to only use the law to fight terrorism, and only to the degree needed. In 1958, Emergency Law 162 permitted declaring a state of emergency whenever the general order in the Republic was threatened, including a war or threat of war, internal turmoil, general catastrophes, or the spread of disease. The law limits the freedom and the constitutional rights of individuals, including the freedom to convene, move, or reside, and detaining them without adhering to criminal law procedures. The law allows searching individuals and monitoring all modes of expression, media, and advertisement before publication. It gives the government the right to impede it, confiscate it, and ground it. The law also allows trying civilians in military tribunals. The state of emergency gives the Foreign Ministry the right to imprison any individual who poses a threat to public safety. In his presidential election campaign in September 2005, President Mubarak promised to lift the state of emergency. Then, he said it would not be lifted until the anti-terrorism law was upheld. Egypt witnessed its first state of emergency at the hands of the British occupation in 1914 during World War I. Since then, the state of emergency has continuously been imposed because of World War II. Then the 1948 war happened, the Cairo fire in 1952, the Triad War in 1956, and the defeat in January of 1967. Former President Anwar al-Sadat continued his rule based on the emergency law. He did not lift the state of emergency until May 1980, but that phase lasted for only 18 months. Egypt has witnessed 66 years of an imposed state of emergency, and the rest is yet to come. Khalid Al-Kashif, Al-Arabiya.
خالد الكاشف العربية.
Egypt will soon begin the first stages of its peaceful nuclear program by choosing the consultant who will supervise the project's progress. The Egyptian government stressed the importance of learning from the experience of other countries which have similar peaceful programs. This comes during a time of increased need to utilize nuclear energy for peaceful purposes as an alternative to traditional energy sources.
The consumption of energy and electricity has increased. The cost of fuel and oil has risen dramatically, and the need for alternative sources of energy has become persistent. All these factors attest to the importance and the inevitability of utilizing nuclear power as a clean and alternative source of energy.
There
is no doubt that this is a clean alternative. There is no argument. Even in regards to waste, it is also known that the regular use of nuclear energy produces very little waste. Most countries with a vision into the future have turned to nuclear energy. It is a good source of energy that is available and can be used immediately. It is ready for use.
Adopting nuclear power as an alternative energy source is no longer a privilege but a necessity. It aims at utilizing nuclear technology and expanding its use into the fields of industry, agriculture, and medicine. This shows the importance of cooperation between countries in the region to serve and benefit their people.
There are no other choice for the Middle East than to turn to peaceful nuclear energy. It is permissible. They have no choice but to cooperate and share experiences. They have to face the global plan that aims to deny them the right to use nuclear energy for peaceful means, a plan aimed at controlling oil and its price without us reaping any of the benefits from it.
Naturally, as Egypt embarks on the era of peaceful nuclear use with its economic benefits, it is open and willing to cooperate with all sides to guarantee the continuation and stability of peaceful nuclear programs in the area. This is particularly important in facing the many pressures and challenges imposed by external powers which try to prohibit our nations from having and using nuclear energy sources peacefully. The peaceful use of nuclear energy is a right of nations, guaranteed by the Non-Proliferation Treaty. In light of increasingly difficult political and economic conditions, the countries in the region have to begin exercising this right and benefiting from it. Nermin Khalil, Al-Alam TV, Cairo.
وفي غمرة هذه التطورات أثارت التصريحات التي أدلى بها رئيس وزراء.
A statement made by the Prime Minister of Iraq's Kurdistan region about the possibility of establishing relations with Israel was met with disapproval.
من الاستنكار.
This headline in this newspaper interview published by Middle East newspaper with Masoud Barzani, the Prime Minister of Kurdistan in Iraq, stirred up negative reactions among Iraqi politicians. Barzani confirmed not wanting to boycott Israel, saying that he wanted to develop relations with all countries, including Israel after Baghdad's approval.
These statements contradict the beliefs and the intellectual and political inclinations of the Iraqi people. We hope that these statements are not true, and if they are, then they will certainly instigate the feelings of Arabs and the Iraqis in general.
Iraqi parliamentarian Mahma Amin of the Kurdistan Coalition denied the statement and said it was fabricated.
Our policy in the Kurdistan region is part of the policy of Iraq and Baghdad. Is there an Israeli embassy in Baghdad? And are there relations between the two countries? No. Therefore, we see this as a fabrication by the media. It aims at isolating and marginalizing the role of the Kurdistan province and the role of the Iraqi government. This fabrication from the media is completely false.
The reactions of Iraqis range between complete rejection to bewilderment about this notion.
We reject this statement because this is not the time for it. Right now, the Iraqi people are thinking about rebuilding and developing Iraq. Statements like this one cause trouble and stir up the people.
There is a fear that such statements could lead to a renewal of a security crisis after its relative improvement recently. McClellan Mohammed, Baghdad, Jordan TV.
من بغداد مخلد محمد التلفزيون الأردني.
أكد وزير الدفاع عبد القادر محمد جاسم أن استيعاب التدريب وتطوير
The Iraqi Defense Minister Abdelkader Mohammed Jassim reiterated that training on providing air cover for fighters is a big step towards making the different units of the Iraqi army complement one another. The defense minister made the statement while he was attending a training maneuver in Al-Diwaniyah.
Using live ammunition, this wave of graduates held training maneuvers under the supervision of the defense minister, who praised the army's capabilities, skills and precision. The media advisor to the defense minister praised the skills of the army and said that the training shows that all different units of the Iraqi army complement one another.
The results were wonderful and there was a great level of precision. Our soldiers have proven that they are very good and well trained, especially if they are given the opportunity to learn and if they have access to modern weapons. The results of the training were very pleasing, and this visit was intended to see on the ground the seriousness and importance of the training process.
The defense minister surveyed the Russian-made missiles that were launched from M-17 planes and which were presented as a gift from Poland. The commander of the Iraqi Air Force reiterated that more deals will be made to purchase planes.
These missiles, which are launched from an M-17 helicopter, are good. These missiles have a strong effect against different kinds of targets, such as tanks, buildings, and individuals. The effects of the missiles depend on their make. These are 80mm caliber missiles and have a range of 1.5 kilometers to 8 kilometers. They are very potent.
These military maneuvers, which were conducted with the use of live ammunition, along with the fact that the Iraqi government is creating contracts to purchase missiles and planes, are indications that the Iraqi army is taking its place among the rest of the world's army. After all, it is one of the armies that is well known for its past and present. Samir As-Somari, Al-Iraqiyya, Baghdad.
In memory of the great Palestinian catastrophe, we focus today on journalism in the diaspora. This form of journalism began with the Palestinian Revolution in 1965 to inform people about Palestinian history and other political developments since 1948.
The Palestinian press in the diaspora stayed committed to the unequivocal Palestinian principles. Despite this, today they are facing challenges due to the Palestinian reality.
إلى الأمام ومثيلتها المترجمة إلى الإنجليزية والحرية والهدف. عناوين صحافة لطالما حملت
Ella al-Amam, or Forward in English, Freedom and the Goal are some of the newspaper names used by Palestinian factions that split from the Palestinian Liberation Organization. Some of these newspapers have been closed down while others are only printed once a month. The Summit, or Steadfast Press of the Fatah al-Intifada, has not yet obtained an official license to print magazines for different Palestinian factions. For now, it is only allowed to print leaflets for special occasions and pictures of martyrs. The Palestinian Palestinian Diaspora newspaper, which was established in Jordan and thrived in Lebanon, is now about to be closed down in Syria. The newspaper suffered greatly, which affected its production. Some attribute the reasons to lack of funds, but there is also the lack of confidence between Palestinian factions, their hosting countries and funders, in addition to the political and economic changes in the Palestinian arena.
إضافة إلى تغير موازين القوى السياسية والاقتصادية على الساحة الفلسطينية.
طبيعة واقعنا السياسي التراجع الذي أصاب حركة المقاومة الذي أصاب إجماع.
The nature of our political reality and the weakening of the Palestinian resistance movement and the Arab liberation movements in general have negatively affected the quality of our political and journalistic performance, especially the Palestinian print media.
Many people acknowledge that the Palestinian press in the diaspora has collapsed. Others, however, found an opportunity with the situation to talk about their burning grievances. Most importantly, the Israeli attacks on educated and intellectual Palestinians who paid with their lives for their publications.
من هذا المفهوم ومن هذا المعنى كان استهداف الشهيد غسان.
The targeting of the late martyr Ghassan Kanafani comes in this context. He was an exception in his time. He managed to appeal to Palestinians regardless of their political ideologies. He was able to bring out the humanitarian element of our Palestinian plight. He also created an awareness of the different living conditions of Palestinian refugees living in tents and the tents of political elites. In Saad novel, he said his famous words, "Tents differ from one another."
Journalists were ignored at a time when the living conditions of the Palestinians had become more difficult. Palestinian factions in the diaspora are not the only ones that are suffering. The General Union of Palestinian Writers and Journalists is also suffering due to the divisions between the Palestinians at home and those living in the diaspora.
Al-Quds Radio is on the path of liberating the land and the people.
Radio and satellite television channels are now the most important alternative to keeping Palestinians at home and those living in the diaspora connected, or even to express political views in an influential manner. The fluctuating political conditions created more difficulties for the Palestinian press, which was also divided between two groups. Some support reaching political settlements, while others are still proud of the resistance mentality. Layla Mawad, Al Jazeera, Damascus.
Layla Mawad, Al Jazeera, Dimashq.
Former White House press secretary Scott McClellan accuses President Bush of self-deception. Arab media feels vindicated. Is the U.S. engaged in political propaganda and misinformation? Do you remember al-Sahaf? Answers to these questions and more on Link TV's Mosaic Intelligence Report.
Scott McClellan reminds me of Saddam Hussein's Minister of Information, Mohammed Saeed al-Sahaf. Well, kind of. For those who have forgotten or are too young to remember, al-Sahaf was the most visible Iraqi official during the invasion of Iraq in 2003, until a day before the fall of Baghdad on April 9 of that year, when he vanished.
As we entered, you saw the office. Nobody came here. What they are saying is inaccurate. As I indicated in the media, nobody came and nobody will come to this area.
Much of the information given by al-Sahaf during the war was clearly inaccurate. However, for several weeks, al-Sahaf enthralled world media with statements such as, the Iraqi army is sending back the mercenaries in body bags back to where they had crawled from. And there are no American infidels in Baghdad, at a time when American tanks were pouring into the Iraqi capital.
They are not near Baghdad. Don't believe them.
Could they be trapped? Could they be trapped?
They are trapped everywhere in the country. They are trapped in Qasr, they are trapped near Basra, they are trapped near Nasiriyah, they are trapped near Najaf. They are everywhere because we will keep them on the move. We will keep them on the move. They are nowhere.
A couple of months later, after having been interrogated by the US forces and released, al-Sahaf resurfaced in the United Arab Emirates, where he reportedly received more than $250,000 for interviews about the last days of the war and the old Iraqi regime he recorded on Abu Dhabi and Al Arabiya channels. This week, we have learned that the Bush administration used similar tactics to mislead the public during the Iraqi war, according to former White House Press Secretary Scott McClellan. In his book, What Happened, he accuses President Bush of self-deception, saying his administration relied on an aggressive political propaganda campaign instead of truth to sell the Iraq war. Scott McClellan is also cashing in, but his take will be far greater than al-Sahaf's.
I felt like we were rushing into this, but because of my position and my affection for the president and my belief and trust in he and his advisors, I gave them the benefit of the doubt. And looking back on it and reflecting on it now, I don't think I should have.
Meanwhile, Arab media has been abuzz with I told you so editorials and television talk show debates. Many analysts felt vindicated about having questioned how the Bush administration justified its invasion of Iraq, the weapons of mass destruction program that Saddam Hussein was allegedly conducting in movable train carts. Some also claim that the US has been exaggerating the success of the surge in Iraq. If you recall, former Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld had accused Al Jazeera television of spreading vicious lies in the aftermath of the war. Last night, an Arab commentator boasted, "You see, the Americans also have a minister of misinformation, just like we do here in many countries in the Middle East. There are two differences though. First, they call him White House Press Secretary. Second, unlike here in the Middle East, the American public does not know that he is lying." I'm Jamal Dajani for the Mosaic Intelligence Report. To learn more about this program or to share your thoughts, visit us at linktv.org/mosaic.
Hi, I'm Wendy Hanamura, Vice President and Station Manager of Link TV. In this election year, we are all focused on the news. What happens in the next few months will change the world. But where is your information coming from? 25 years ago, there were 50 major media companies. Today, the media is dominated by just 6 megacorporations. And take a look. GE owns so many television, radio, magazine, and newspaper companies that we had to name them in this tiny little font that you see on the screen. Then there are the holdings of Disney and Time Warner and News Corp and Viacom. Their media empires go on and on and on. So what if you want news and information that isn't filtered by a corporation? That's where Link TV comes in. Our independence is one of the cornerstones of a truly democratic nation. So now is the time to pledge your support for independent media, for Link TV. You can make a difference in this country by supporting the courageous voices that you hear right here on Link TV. Just call us at 1-866-485-8848 or go to linktv.org and make a quick, safe, tax-deductible contribution. Here at Link, we believe there is a big gaping void in the market of news, information, and cultural programming. And Link was created to fill that void with voices that you aren't hearing anywhere else. Link TV gives you knowledge, and knowledge is power. What you know affects how you vote and what you demand from your politicians. I think one of our viewers said it best when she wrote to us, "Link TV is intelligent, informative. Without Link TV, a steady diet of commercial and corporate TV would rot my mind and diminish my soul. Thanks for being there and for nourishing the life of my mind." Nourishing the mind and the soul, that's our goal. And those of you who have made that call are really philanthropists, because your gift extends Link TV to all of those who can't give right now. It enhances everyone's life. So call us at 1-866-485-8848 or log on to linktv.org and become a philanthropist today. In this election year, it has never been more important that we all stay informed, interested, and engaged. Call us now, 1-866-485-8848 or go to the website linktv.org. Find that green support button and keep us going with your sustaining support. Make a monthly credit card donation at any amount that's right for you. Do it now. Call us 1-866-485-8848 and help keep more than just 6 media voices on the air. Thank you.
The views expressed on Mosaic are those of the participating broadcasters, not Link TV or its sponsors. The production of Mosaic is made possible with the support of viewers like you. Thank you. This program was brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only. Link TV is the only U.S. television network devoted to global and national news, with uncompromising documentaries and diverse cultural programs. Programs which connect you to the world.